Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. So over at the SSE Arena in Belfast, Luis Alberto Lopez retained his IBF featherweight title by knocking out Mick Conlan with one punch in the fifth round. And this was a very, very exciting fight, out of the blue, just ended. Conlan came out, very, very busy, set a very, very high work rate, lots of punches coming in. Very sort of language style, holds his hands kind of away from his... There isn't a lot of... there's no solid defence with Conlan. He's come forward, but he lets his hands go repeatedly. Southpaw, good jab actually, good jab from Conlan at times. And he kind of took Lopez by surprise a little bit, I thought. Lopez was at no point hurt. And Conlan was showing a lot of variety of work. So he was going to the body as well as the head. He was using both hands. Sometimes he was jabbing. Sometimes he was letting the backhand go. He was almost rushing into range. And like I say, he kind of took Lopez by surprise. But Lopez, as we know, whereas Conlan is 18 wins, he's now got 2 defeats, both by stoppage. He's only got 9 KOs, so only half of his victories are by KO. Luis Alberto Lopez, 28 wins and 16 knockouts. But that kind of hides, I think, the actual power that he has, because he does have a lot of power. He first came to Britain, I think his first appearance in Britain was when he knocked out Isaac Lowe, and at the time Isaac Lowe was undefeated, and that was in 2021. Really good. That was a really good result at the time, and no one had really heard of Lopez. He came back over, fought Josh Warrington, and won a majority decision in Leeds. So it was a close fight. I didn't have a problem with the majority decision thing, but I thought that fight could have gone either way. Probably Lopez edged it, but he has scored some impressive knockouts, Lopez, and this was out of the blue. This was certainly one of them. This is highlight reel stuff, because in the first 2 rounds belonged to Conlan. And at no point, even though he was completely outworking Lopez, and over 12 rounds, you were thinking, well, can he keep this pace up? Probably not. What's he going to do? There'll have to be some sort of... He'll have to adapt at some point. He'll have to maybe stick behind his jab more, be a bit more structured. But in the third round, Lopez, it's almost like Lopez said, okay, you want to do that? We'll do that. So he kind of moved in, dropping his hands. He didn't have much of a guard, but he was letting his hands go. It's almost like he had a look at the first 2 rounds. He had a look at Conlan's style and thought, all right, we can do that. Here's what I got for you. And there's no doubt that when Lopez landed his punches, they were having far more of an effect on Conlan than the other way around. Well, towards the end of the third round, there was, I think it was, let me get this right now, it was a right uppercut and I think a left hook. Up close with Conlan again, his hands hanging low, he's leaning over the front foot. Lopez catches him and he stings Conlan quite badly, and Conlan gets pushed back into the ropes, and then Lopez is letting his hands go. Again, he's actually smiling while he's doing it. Moves in, big grin on his face, lets both hands go, no interest in defence. Bang, bang, bang. And he's got Conlan in some trouble there. And the bell, it didn't save Conlan, but I'm sure Conlan was very glad to hear it. And that was in the third round. The fourth round, it was more of the same. Again, Conlan, he was still working. He was still working hard, but he was being met at the same pace by a heavier-handed opponent. And Lopez, I gave Lopez the fourth as well. So I had it 2-2. I gave Mick Conlan the first 2 rounds, and then 3 and 4 I gave to Lopez. And you could tell, okay, that's 1/3 of the fight out the way. There's 8 rounds to go. It looked to me, unless Lopez was going to burn himself out, as if those heavier hands, because of the style of the fight, were going to prove the deciding factor. And sure enough, they did, because in the 5th round, again, Conlan being very, very proactive, not holding back, rushing into range, letting his hands go. Lopez not backing off. There weren't a great deal of, footwork finesse on display from either man. Although I think Lopez certainly held his shape more. He was a bit more balanced, and even though his hands were low. They were exchanging, and then suddenly, from out of nowhere, Conlan sort of swang into a huge right uppercut come hook that just put him on his back, and he was out. And immediately Adam Booth in Conlan's corner threw the towel in. As soon as Conlan hit the floor, it was obvious it was over. He didn't recover within, never mind 10 seconds, he didn't recover within a couple of minutes. Eventually he was okay. And yeah, one punch, that's all she wrote. And it was a very enthralling fight. Fantastic atmosphere in Belfast. Obviously, when Conlan hit the floor and was out, the place went silent. But Conlan, you know, he tried everything. He tried to win, and he was just up against a guy who got him, you know. And the fans can be, if you know, they're obviously Conlan fans, they can be proud of their guy. You know, he did his best. He fought. It's just like when he fought Lee Wood. He left it all in the ring. And what more do you want from your fighters? You know, Lopez, I think, in terms of skill and probably in terms of toughness, durability, is better than most featherweights in the world. And I would love to see a matchup between Luis Alberto Lopez and Lee Wood. I think that would be a fantastic fight. That would be, or, you know, maybe Lopez against Mauricio Lara, if Lara still wants to fight at featherweight, if he wants to take his career seriously again and make weight, and, you know. But there's some good featherweights in the world, and you're going to have to be good to beat Lopez. You're going to, because he is very, very good. And of course, he travelled into the Lion's Den in Belfast, just like he did in Leeds against Warrington, and he came out with that belt. What more do you need? You know, terrific champ. So, did you see this fight? This headline, a BT card. Let me know what you think of the fight. Where does Mick Conlan go from here? Conlan, I think, is 31 now, which is, no, not young anymore. A rematch with Lopez. Lopez is 29. I would say no, avoid him. I would say avoid him. I'd say rebuild. Maybe Conlan will go up to super feather. I don't know. I don't know whether he can make feather decently or not. But Lopez, he's got plenty more paydays coming. They'll probably bring him over to Britain again or Ireland to fight another featherweight. You know, he's knocked off a few of ours so far. So, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, I'll come over again. You keep paying me and I'll come over again. But he's made a name for himself, Lopez, and deservedly so. Good champion. Good champion. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. Subscribe to this channel if you're new. Please subscribe, because that helps us a great deal, and we want to build the channel up. And also hit the like button on the video if you liked it. Appreciate your time as always. Looking forward to reading your comments, and bye for now.